Hey everyone. I just showered. Anyway, imagine you have a ball of yarn, right? You unspool it, and somehow this thing that was in a big ball is suddenly 60 feet over there. So that's crazy and pretty cool. However, what if you think about electrons? Well, comparatively, electrons are able to go 2.2 thousand kilometers per second. But electrons are tiny, so let's convert some numbers and find out what we get. 2.2 quadrillion atomic whip per second. So the diameter of an electron, which is 1/10 of a nanometer, versus the, let's just call it what it is, 2.2 million meters of distance, traveled in a second, is an extremely fast speed. It's like about 100th the speed, or 150th the speed of light. It's crazy, it's huge, but let's just make it simple for you all. And let's say that we have I wish I had a ball of yarn, but a measuring tape will do just fine similarly. So what I want to talk about is why we see an electron going around an atom and it looks like a big fuzzy cloud. Well, the reason it looks like a big fuzzy cloud is because every time an electron makes an orbit, it has to move over to the side in order to keep on orbiting because it meets itself. It's going that fast. Yeah, all of those little dots around an atom, those aren't where you're going to possibly find the electron. That's where it has been. So, it's the difference between, I don't know, 1 and 1 millionth of a second is where you're expecting to find any one of those particular electron positions. Just scroll the time forward and you'll find that it existed in all of those bits. The only thing is we're looking at it in a frame of a second. So maybe our resolution is able to be faster, but we would still see it as it existing all those times. So how many times? I ended up doing some basic back of the napkin math, and my conclusion is that it must be around 500 trillion times per second. So imagine you have this big ball of yarn leading out 2.2 million meters away from yourself. That's a lot bigger than your basic ball of yarn, but let's just say you did it anyway. Because you were working with electrons here. So the thing is, for every length that is equal to an orbit of around an atom, we'll end up dividing that huge number, which is, I think it's either 2.2 quadrillion or 22 quadrillion. I think it's actually 22 quadrillion, which would make it 5. You divide it by about 3 or 4 to get the orbiting, and you realize it's going about 5 quadrillion. But if it's 22 quadrillion atomic whips per second, then it's about 5 quadrillion orbits around that, which means there have to be at least 5. Now so there has to be at least 5 quadrillion echoes of the electron. I've stated this in other videos, and I was like, whoa, that's a lot of echoes. Um, so yeah, just imagine for every orbit that you go around the atom, you take that measurement and you make a mark on the string, the yarn, and then as you go along the length, you go far away, and you got all those lengths. Then you rolled up the yarn ball, and you see where all of those dots show up. That's where the electrons are. That's just where they end up. And it's like, that is tremendous. I mean, you have to start off with, first of all, you'd be wrapping the yarn around a baseball or something to represent the size of the atom. And then you would approximate. You wouldn't go the full 2 million meters away, 2.2 million meters away, but you'd go about, like, as long as you want to do the experiment. And you would end up with a fraction of the amount of space that would take up. And then for all of the dots, then you can use a computer and just assume what the rest of those dots would look like, and sure enough, there you have it. So the thing about string is that it's incredibly huge compared to what's orbiting, and electrons are extremely tiny. So the string size compared to electrons is like, you would have to compare the diameter of the string to the diameter of an electron, and then scale that out. How long is that string? And then you would be able to do a proper analysis based off that and whatever else. You could use a computer to do it, or you could just look at one of the many scans that we have of electrons orbiting atoms, and they look like a goddamn fuzzy cloud, and that's why. Hope you enjoyed. Where is the exit button?